Alliance Whiskey, where we dive deep into the chasms of drunkard whiskey reviews. Today's whiskey, Evan Williams Black Label.
Shut up and sit down.
Who am I? Professional sleeper. Drying paint watcher. Full-time Netflix viewer. Train pusher. Dog food taster. Vegan. And of course, whiskey reviewer.
Welcome to Alliance Whiskey Peer Review. I'm here with June Moon, and today we're going to review Evan Williams Black Label. How you doing today?
Doing good. Thanks for having me. This is the very first episode. Yay!
Yeah, you're my first guest. You're the very first person that's going to get drunk with me on YouTube. These guys come, they're from Kentucky. The distillery's name is Heaven Hill, and they do, like you were saying, make a lot of different brands of whiskey. What we're going to try today is the Black Label. It's one of their beginner, I would say lower shelf whiskeys. It doesn't necessarily drink like a cheap whiskey. It actually can hold up to some of the mid-range. Look at that. Get a good look at this color. This is aged only about 4 years. So it's actually a pretty good color for as long as they actually do age it.
Yeah.
The grain bill for this, before I forget, this is going to be 75% corn, 13% rye, and 12% barley. That's kind of right up the middle when it comes to bourbons, so it's not going to be high in rye. That's kind of right where most bourbons are going to sit. One other thing about this is it is 43% alcohol, so it does have a little bit of a spine to it. Have you ever done a whiskey tasting or a whiskey sampling?
Not whiskey per se.
The way you do this is you get it up to your nose, and where you start to feel the alcohol burn, you pull it back until you no longer feel that. Then you want to take a sip with your mouth open, okay? Or, sorry, a smell with the mouth open. What I'm getting out of here, impressions, is just a lot of barrel. It's very oaky.
I'm getting a lot of, almost like a honey.
Yeah, you're getting a little bit of that vanilla butterscotch, but I think it does present a little bit as honey as well for me, so.
Yeah.
You know what also I'm kind of getting out of there is a little bit of rye. And it's not a high rye bourbon, but I get a little bit of the rye, and what it is almost like a minty, just spicy.
Yeah, actually, I could get that little aftertaste of it. That after smell kind of goes right down your lungs.
Like maybe like a parsley, and then maybe a little orange peel. If you really dig in there, you can get some orange peel out of it.
Yeah.
Once again, just on the palate, I'm getting a lot of rye, and that's weird because, like I said, there's not a lot in there, but it has a backbone. So what you're feeling right now is the finish. When you feel it go down and you feel that burn, that's what's called a finish. The longer that you get that warming feeling in your chest, esophagus, and so forth, the longer that goes, the longer the finish it is.
It is spicy. I definitely get the vanilla, the caramelly taste. And now that I mention it, I actually do have a peanut butter whiskey that's very, not similar, but I can actually, it does have almost like a peanutty after bite. The more I breathe in without actually taking another sip or a drink of water per se.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what's kind of striking me about this is it's very dry on the mouthfeel. Feels like it's drying the tongue out.
Yeah, it's almost like your entire saliva is just being sucked right out.
Let's take one more sip and see if we can pull anything else out of here.
Let's see.
I mean, it's still really spicy. That's the face you don't make when you drink whiskey. That we probably should have laid those ground rules. So.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
No coughing, no grimacing, no spitting it back out.
It's good. It's just one of those things you just kind of you swallow it all.
Mm-hmm.
It's still burned. But it's good. It is good. Like after the aftertaste, you don't get as much of the burning.
Right. There are legitimate whiskey sommeliers that do reviews on YouTube, and I'm a connoisseur, but not certified yet.
Yeah. Maybe. I didn't know there was a whiskey sommelier. There you go. I knew there was wine sommeliers.
Yeah, you can spend some money learning how to do this properly. Not like this guy, but properly. Heaven Hill, the company that makes this, fun fact, they are the 7th largest supplier of whiskey in the United States. They're actually founded in 1935 in Bardstown, Kentucky. They have since moved because that location in 1996 caught fire, and they almost burned the entire thing down.
Really?
It must have been, the way I visualize this plant going up in flames is once those barrels burned and the whiskey started spilling out, that must have looked like a lake of fire.
Can you imagine?
Yeah.
Or almost like the when the Joker blew up the hospital.
100%.
He didn't expect it to happen. It just startled everybody. It just came up like a rocket. But
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Can you imagine how that would smell? Actually, with the burning whiskey within the barrels? Can you imagine?
I didn't read anything that said anyone died in it, fortunately. So there's no dead, charred people smell mixed in. So maybe it would have.
Everybody's souls weep that day.
So some brands that you'll find from Heaven Hill are Cabin Still Bourbon, Echo Spring Bourbon, Elijah Craig, which one of the things that I remember from Elijah Craig, their single barrel, is it reminded me a lot of the Evan Williams single barrel. And because the Evan Williams single barrel is my first, true obsession with bourbon when I was really getting into bourbon, both the Elijah Craig and the Evan Williams single barrel are very nostalgic for me. I mean, maybe not even like the best bourbon on the market that I enjoy drinking, but like I still go back to them. Well, at least the Evan Williams, because it reminds me of the good old days, which I've had a lot now. I've had a lot of good old days.
Well,
there's a lot more good old days behind than ahead now.
There's always good old days ahead.
So I guess obviously Evan Williams, my favorite name in bourbon right now, Fighting Cock Bourbon. I
can't imagine why, but okay.
True story. I almost got Knob Creek because I had a whole bunch of knob jokes prepared for us.
Knob Creek.
So for later on, we'll just save some of those for later on.
Fair.
So I'll tell you a little bit about how this is created. So
the
way bourbon is created is you run a combination of corn. It has to be over 50% corn in order to be a bourbon. It has to be made in the United States. The rest of the recipe can be a combination of barley, wheat, rye, something like that. Once it's distilled, what comes off the still is essentially what you would call a white dog or a moonshine. At that point, it's probably somewhere around 125 proof after cuts. Cuts means that they'll take the heads and the tails of the run out. They will age it in a barrel for a certain amount of time. I think it has to be over 2 years to be considered a bourbon. A lot of the characters that you're getting on the smell and the drink here, and by the way, as I take more sips, I'm getting a little bit of cherry in here, which always happens when I drink bourbon. That's the one thing that I always pick out with bourbons, unless they're really, really high rye content, is I get a lot of cherry in it.
Yeah, I see what you're saying from like the first 2 sips. You're getting new notes and other notes that are disappearing. Because now I'm not getting the mint. I'm not getting the orange. I am getting a very minimal amount of a vanilla caramel, and that's slowly dissipating as well. I'm definitely getting more of a cherry or a plum
Oh, plum.
kind of smell.
Mm.
Because the vanilla flavor smell's gone, the caramel smell's gone. Now I'm definitely getting something along the lines of, say, a vine ripened plum,
Mm-hmm.
or like, yeah, hints of berry.
It's like almost a little bit of like orange peel. So
Yeah,
this begs the important question, and I need you to pay attention to this. What's the difference between whiskey and a battery?
Whiskey in a battery?
Yeah, what's the difference between a whiskey and a battery? There is no negative side to whiskey.
Ah! And there's your dad jokes.
By the way, with this bottle, take a look at this. What's with that little white cap thing that makes things hard to kind of pour? Like it makes things pour real slowly. What is that thing? Like, what is the? I don't really get it.
I think that came from a Kikkoman bottle. I don't even know.
We're just gonna be smuggling dolphins in the sea with these things,
right? Well,
the small
dolphin goes reuse it.
But before I forget, because I don't, that you do have a lot of stuff going on. So, if you'd like to let people know where to find you.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate that very much. Student at Colorado Media School. I have a few Twitters. I have an Anchor FM podcast show coming up. It's called Midnights with Moon. I got a Facebook page. You can catch me on Twitter at Jen No Input. That was my old band name. Hit me up on there. I do music. I am a board operator. I work pretty closely with Josh Doper from Altitude Sports here. I do 3 shows. I actually plugged this show on one that I did last night, actually, called blanking too much. It is called the Colony of Weirdos, where we just kind of sit, chat, and see what's going on in our lives and try to poke people, poke at our co-hosts, which I actually did plug the show on the show last night. You can catch it on YouTube. You can catch everything on Spotify, Anchor FM. Once we get back into the school, we're going to be doing back into the live podcasting where we can actually get in there, get everybody together to hopefully go back into a show called Weekend Wednesdays with Wilfred. And that is a show where I run the boards and I co-host on that as well, where we talk about exactly this. We talk about best bars, what's going on the weekend, concerts that are coming up, movies that are coming up, and what is your best beers, basically, on little distillery tours. So check that out again. And we have, like I said, a lot of podcasts coming up, and it's called the how come I can't remember? I can remember Weekend Wednesdays with Wilford, but I can't remember the
You're not
Colony Weirdos.
Yeah.
Twitter, YouTube.
I mean, you should really just look at me and be like, yeah, Colony of Weirdos.
No, I can't even remember. I have so much going on right now. It's absolute craziness. Oh, and I also do board operations for a show called The Rush Hour.
Nice.
GoMileHigh.com. You can catch it
Those
there.
Those don't happen anymore.
What's that?
Those don't happen anymore.
Oh, the Rush Hour, yeah. It's essentially a show that comes on after the press box, which is all sports talk. Again, GoMileHigh.com, which is Colorado Media School. I also do an internship at Military Broadcast Radio, MBR, every Monday, which does get sent over to the troops, live broadcasted over in Afghanistan to all the veterans. It's live, unedited, on air, and it's called The H Train Show. And I am DJ Moonlight on The H Train Show.
You are such a better person than I am.
No, I'm tired. I also need to get my own pills kind of going on here as well. I got a few in the works, but I do everybody else's. Yeah, I want everybody else's. I want people to be on mine this time. But I do have a lot on the pipes coming down. Yeah, you can catch me at j.moon with an E _official on Instagram.com and at Jen No Input on Twitter and Facebook. It's my personal Facebook. I have my radio station coming up real soon. It's called KMUN 106.
Awesome.
101.6 The Vault, and that is my daytime radio show.
Awesome. Well,
yeah.
Man, you are busy. Like, honestly, like, how do you sleep? When do you sleep? Like,
I don't.
All right, so I'm going to wrap this up. Thank
Awesome.
you again. And like I said, you will be back, and I will try to weasel my way into some of the things that you got going on too.
You're the first person I'm picking. We're gonna do a nice little review show coming up soon, I hope, at on the Mile High Underground or on my Anchor FM podcast station, which I already have up and running.
We're gonna be so drunkard. Our livers are already like, screw you guys. I'm out of here.
They're like, meh. Oh,
Thank you so much, and I will see you all later. Bye.
Absolutely. Peace out. Check his channel out. You'll love it.
Hello, sport. You doing okay? Are you staying safe? Not too safe. Listen, buddy. I'm gonna have to ask something of you. I know this isn't easy, but if you could just hit the like button, subscribe, follow me on Instagram, Alliance Whiskey. Follow me on Twitter, Alliance Whiskey. You know, if we can just pull together, you and I know we can get through this. I know because I believe in you. I believe.